are looking at this because it can be something that creeps in to everything what we're doing every single day without even realizing it. So if you feel at times you're stuck, right, and we'll all go through this period of time where you feel like you're a bit stuck. Generally, yes, it can be things need tweaking in a program, but it can also be little bits of self sabotage creeping in, and it's little patterns that creep into your everyday. Okay, so what it isn't is it isn't a dramatic thing. It's generally quite a quiet thing. So it could be, for example, a biscuit or three or four biscuits maybe at 10 p.m. No one's watching. You've had a long day. You're knackered. Basically, what's happening there is your brain is like craving some form of sugar, some form of glucose, some sort of reward as well. Okay, it could be something like that. It could be you just log one glass of wine instead of logging the three glasses of wine that you had, and it's all. And this isn't even conscious decisions, to be quite honest. This can be subconscious. So your body's just like, oh, you know what? It doesn't really matter. Or your brain, sorry, is more like, it doesn't really matter. And another very, very popular one is that you'll start on a Monday. So, say, for example, it didn't go well yesterday. So it's Tuesday today, it didn't go well yesterday. And today you're like, oh, you know what? It didn't go well. I'll start again next Monday. For some reason, we've got this thing that Mondays are a refresh, or it's the same with January 1st, isn't it? January 1st is a refresh. This first day of each month is a refresh. And we just want to kind of like be more aware of these things when they crop up. Now, these are small, aren't they? They're small things that we try to justify in our head consistently. But what they do is they just put the brakes on everything because it's basically undoing the hard work that you're doing. And what's the point of doing all that hard work if we're even subconsciously undoing it? So we need to make these more conscious decisions. And this is the problem. This is the issue people face, is that they think it's a willpower issue. Okay, it's not a willpower issue at all. It's just a pattern. And willpower runs out, right? So it can't be a willpower issue because willpower runs out. Patterns can be rewritten though. And the moment you stop blaming your discipline and you start recognizing it's a pattern, everything changes. Because if you can name it, you can break it or you can change it. So that's what we need to do. We need to recognize that it's not just the fact that you're not disciplined enough, because it's drilled into us that we need to be disciplined all the time. No, we just need to have better systems and better patterns in life. So why do we actually self-sabotage? If we look at self-sabotage in a nutshell, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Because we're trying to achieve something and basically we're slowly undoing it by actions that don't help us get to where we want to be, right? It's protection in disguise. It's a form of your brain telling yourself that it's comfortable in that position. So predictability feels safe, right? So staying stuck is familiar. And I know this might sound silly because you're all trying to achieve better level of health, fitness, mental health, mindset, all this stuff. But staying stuck is familiar. And the unknown isn't familiar. And your brain will constantly tell you to not go into the unfamiliar because it doesn't like it. It doesn't like being uncomfortable. The fear of success is another one as well. And again, like I said to the previous one, it might sound silly, but yes, we have fear of failure. Of course we do. But also, have you ever thought about the fear of success? What happens if it actually works? Are your friends not going to want to hang around with you? Maybe because you don't align with what they want to do. If they go out drinking quite a lot, for example, and you're not that person anymore, that's a fear of success. Are you worried that you won't be able to hang around with your friends, or are you worried what people might think of you because you're not having a takeaway and you're having a salad instead? That's what we call the fear of success. And is that something that might slowly be holding you back as well? That kind of like, oh, I don't want to lose my friend there, or I don't want to miss out on that, and that kind of stuff. And comfort in self-doubt as well. And again, I'll say it again, it sounds silly, but it's true. Being down on yourself is a place that and it's a comfort. It's a comfort zone. Even when it's costing you, it's a comfort zone because it's just what isn't it? It's not the unknown. And like I said before, the brain doesn't want to do the unknown. It doesn't want you to feel fantastic because it doesn't know what that should feel like. It doesn't know what that should be yet. So that kind of comfort and self-doubt is also something that can hold you back. And hopefully all that's made sense, because when I was writing it, I was like, this makes sense to me, but it might not make sense to other people yet. But it's something that will make sense as we get further into it. Okay. Now, mindset sabotage, first and foremost. So there's a form of mindset sabotage and there's a form of physical sabotage as well, right? Now, you might recognize these. They're more common than you think, and they're definitely more costly than you think. So the ruined it now spiral. Talk about these a lot, don't I? The mindset stuff. I do a lot of mindset coaching. One slip up becomes a full write off. A bad meal turns into a bad week. It's just justification again that I'm going to be comfortable because I'm not happy stepping out of my comfort zone. My brain isn't happy stepping out of my comfort zone. So if you do something that isn't on plan, you're like, I've ruined it. And you just say, I might as well ruin that. And if we look at it from a bird's eye perspective, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Like it doesn't make any sense at all. Why would we do that? What's the justification behind that? And when you can start to think about why you're trying to justify that to yourself, we can start to get to the root cause of all of this. The daily negotiation, I mean, guys, we have this every single day. It's crazy. I do it as well. You talk yourself into it, then you talk yourself out of it, and back into it, and eventually you don't do it. You just end up becoming paralyzed by it. And then we have the impossible standard as well. So we set the bar far too high. And it's great to have high standards and high vision, but if you set that bar too high and it's impossible to reach, especially in the time frame that we're looking at, then you've always got an easy way out. You've always got an excuse to quit with it. And then we have the starting on Monday, like I spoke about before. And starting on Monday or starting on the first of the month or starting on the 1st of January is just procrastination dressed up in a nicer outfit. And procrastination kills all sorts of progress. So these are the kind of mindset sabotage, self-sabotage things that we go through. So I've ruined it now, so I might as well ruin the week. Constantly negotiating with yourself until you just don't do anything about it instead of just taking action. And that's why I say about eating the frog. All my kind of like little methods fit into all of this stuff. Okay. The impossible standard, setting that high standard, that bar so high that if you're on the journey and you're like, I'm never going to get there, I might as well quit. And then the starting on Monday. It's probably the biggest one that everyone does. I'll start next week. It's a new start. This is a new me. By next Monday, it's like, I'll start again. And that is procrastination dressed up in a nicer outfit. Then we have the physical sabotage side of things. So this one doesn't always look like sabotage. Sometimes it just looks like you're being overly enthusiastic. And that's when it can all fall apart. So for an example here would be going all in, then burning out, going too hard, too fast. It could be a fortnight of just being like on it, everything. Food is dialed in, water, you're running 10 miles a day, you're doing a workout every day, ridiculous amount of intensity. That's guaranteed to fail. It's guaranteed to fail. I don't care what anyone says, that is guaranteed to fail. So it's just self-sabotage because you're pushing yourself so hard, almost to the point where you know it's not going to be sustainable. And then it gives you a reason to quit. And it's not, and then I say it gives you a reason to quit. It's not so much that it gives your brain a reason to quit. Because like I said, sometimes our brain is just in control of itself. It's not you. It's just the natural response of the neural pathways in your brain wants an easy way out. It wants to be safe and secure. Dropping the basics. So the second no one's checking in, the fundamentals just go to pot, sleep, steps, water, movement, workouts, just all goes again, because it's a form of physical self-sabotage when we don't have someone checking in on us. It could be your friend, family member, could be me, whatever. And then the basics just drop. And again, that's just another way out. Your brain, again, convincing you it's another way out. Wreck sleep. This is a big one. And when people come to me and they're like, I haven't had much sleep, I'm like, right, it's going to be a struggle the next day. It actually is, because when we don't sleep well enough, and you don't have to have a massive amount of sleep, it's about good sleep. All right. So I don't sleep a massive amount. I probably have 6 hours, 7 if I'm lucky, but I do get good quality sleep, to be fair, which is why when I wake up in the morning, I'm fairly refreshed, So it's not about the duration, it's about the quality. So if we have poor sleep, every decision the next day goes sideways. It makes it way harder to make good decisions. And sleep affects hormones as well. It really does. But I think if we look at it from the most simple and simplistic way, it's just harder to make good decisions. It's easier to make poor decisions the next day when you're tired. Maybe you're tired, you can't be asked to cook, have a takeaway. You woke up in the morning, you were going to have your healthy brekkie. You're like, I'll stop off at Greg's on the way to work, something like this. And then there's the I've earned this loop. One hard day becomes a reward. So if you've had a tough day, you reward yourself with something to make it seem like a better day. Then what happens is that every time you have a bad day, you give yourself that reward. And I was thinking about this when I was writing it, and I was like, what? We're like dogs. Yeah. We're humans. We're actually like dogs. When a dog does something good, you give it a treat, so it does it again. If we do something and we give ourselves a treat for it, we do it again. So if you've had a bad day and you reward that bad day with a bottle of wine, for example, or it could be a family-sized dairy milk. I don't know, just trying to freestyle off the top of my head there. But you're teaching yourself that's that bad day, you can relive it and you'll give yourself a reward. And it's a reward pattern. And it's what we do to train dogs and animals. So without sounding like too stupid there, that's exactly how it is. We're rewarding not doing the things we should be doing to get us to where we want to be. So that I've earned it shouldn't fall into the category of if you've had a shit day, you don't give yourself something to earn it. If you've had a great day and everything's been on point, that's when you give yourself a bar of chocolate, or you can have a glass of wine, and if it fits in your calories as well, or fits in your goal, and you're rewarding the fact you've had a bloody fantastic day, you will train yourself into, you know what, yeah, that's this is something I'm going to do again, because I'm going to allow myself a glass of wine, or whatever it is. It could be a nice bath, I don't know, or reading your favorite book, whatever. So see how that works. Okay, physical sabotage. Now, the fix to it, awareness, first and foremost, is the biggest thing. And once you are aware of these things, you can start to put it right. Most of the time, like I said, these things are subconscious and they just go through day to day without even realizing what's going on. If we can be aware of the situation, you can literally get rid, okay? And you can stop it and nip it in the bud. So once you can see that pattern, you can change it. Set minimum standards. A bad day never becomes a bad week. You need to know your flaw and you need to protect that flaw. So you need to protect it with your life. The never miss twice rule, talk about this a lot. It's a really, really important one. One slip up, absolutely human, okay? 2 in a row is the start of a new pattern and you shouldn't let it happen. So and the only way to go about that is to be aware that it's happened. So if you've had a little trip up with food, for example, just make sure the next one you don't miss again. You get back on track, all right? And then we remove the decision. So removing a decision is basically making this systemized. It's making it automated. It's taking away any decisions that you need to make. It's taking away the fact you need to be motivated. So once we have a system in place and you just kind of go through it like clockwork, I'll just explain to you now my morning routine. I set everything up the night before. I have my electrolytes in a glass, in a bottle. It's here straight away in the morning. I've already prepped it. I have my supplements out on the side. I have anything I need to make my morning systemized so I can just get into my day. It's done the night before. All my gym clothes are laid out in the spare room on the bed, just there. So I can go into there, chuck them on, jobs are good, and don't have to think. And it's taken away that thinking element, because when we have to think about stuff, all of a sudden it starts stressing us out and it starts making us muddled in our head. Build a system that's going to work. And that starts with a morning system. So I'd recommend to you guys now, tomorrow morning or tonight, just lay everything out on the kitchen countertop, for example, have a glass of water by the side of your bed. So you wake up, you down it straight away. Little things like this can make your morning seamless. If you make your morning seamless, the rest of the day is so much easier. All right. I know I appreciate I'm waffling and it's 6:45 in the morning here, but I'll let you go in a second. Okay. So the one question here that I want you to have a think about, like I said, this might not be relevant to you right now, but it will be at some point in life. What would the version of me I'm trying to become, would the version of me I'm trying to become actually do this right now? So, when we're thinking about slipping up, or not slipping up, but thinking about self-sabotage, or we can see self-sabotage coming in, would that version of me actually do what I'm trying to do right now? And ask it in the moment, okay? Don't overthink it, let it land, pause for a second, and just have a little bit of honest self-reflection. And when we can do that, like I said, that's where real change actually lives, okay? So, action task from all this today: if you feel self-sabotage coming on, or you're starting to get aware of it, name it, okay? Identify it, and identify that number one self-sabotage pattern that you can see yourself doing. Like I said, it might not be the case right now, but at some point it will be, okay? That the one thing that you do when no one's watching, or you skip out on. Step 2, catch it once, just once. Pause, name it out loud, choose a different option, choose a different method moving forward. And step 3, that's the game, okay? We're not looking to completely overhaul stuff. I want you to have that one moment of awareness of that one self-sabotage that you can feel cropping up. Stop, think, pause, name it, be aware of it, do something different, make a different decision. And we start to retrain yourself out of that automated self-sabotage pattern. Okay, so it's awareness, pause, choose differently, and do that one rep at a time, day after day, week after week, month after month, and you can change that self-sabotage pattern. But